Hello, we are live. Do not swear.
Koru Kids TV.
Welcome.
Welcome.
We got a show for you.
Yes, we do. Um, so, James, tell me, why is this principal engineer job so great?
It's a, it will be our, so first of all, I should say it will be our first principal engineer role. And what we're looking for is somebody who really wants to work in a business where what they do and the stuff they discover and the software engineering that happens around them makes a massive difference to the business. So I think this is the perfect role for somebody who's who's obviously got a track record of doing this, but might be in a place right now where you've 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 done it, you've reached it, and it's just a case of and you've done the major changes, and it's a little bit dull because you're refactoring, and maybe you're finding you're sort of making up projects almost to keep yourself interested, and actually really it's time to move on and do something super exciting and different and new. Um, and Koru Kids is a special place because we are doing something that no other tech company is doing at the moment. Um, and that's been really exciting for me. The world of childcare is a massively broken one. There's no infrastructure. It's the bottom of everyone's list, and there's no tech companies that are doing anything to help it. Um, the reason a principal engineer is super important, however, is because the the best way, the sort of most effective way of growing a business quickly in a way where you keep quality high is to apply proper engineering solutions to real world problems. And this is a wide open space. There's so many different elements to it. How can I describe it? I would say Koru Kids has a bit of marketplace tech. So that's about how do we write software that can help us understand the market that we're operating in. Imagine the all-seeing oracle. It can understand where the demand is, and it can automatically reach out and activate supply. So that's one element. Another element is we're only going to do well if we provide a fantastic service that really helps families flourish. And to do that at scale, we're not going to be able to hire personal coaches for every single Koru Kids childcare provider. We're going to need to use software and the feedback we get from parents and from nannies and from senior nannies and put it all together in this big digital soup that helps us scale and make sure that at every moment parents are getting the best childcare. So that's the second thing. The third thing is we need to understand that every family is a little bit different from each other, and it's about matching up that family with the childcare service that fits them. Um, it sounds really simple. We've got one product, but actually, if you think about it, we've got lots and lots of products. So there's a real challenge there in terms of defining what the products are, how to represent that in software, and how to really quickly and really smartly find the best match for that parent's needs. And don't forget, it's a changing landscape because the children are getting older and their needs change and the family's needs change. So we need to be a service that wraps around that family and sorts them out.
What kind of engineering culture do you, as CTO, aim to create?
Okay, so that's a really good question. I think of what you can go in so many different dimensions. I think the one that sort of stands out most to me is the realization that small autonomous teams that have sort of control over their destinies are economically the most effective and get the most done. That's just a fact of life. That's the way I like to work, and that's the way I've observed some fantastic teams I've worked with in the past have worked. So the culture is around what do we need to do to support a culture where individuals are working together in a small group, and and there's a lack of, and then there's nothing in your way. There's no dependencies. You're not waiting for someone's permission to do a thing. You're not dependent on another team or service to build a thing before you can do your thing. You're autonomous, and that's real autonomy, and it's really rare, super rare. And to put it in place requires having a team that works in a way where it's easier to do the right thing. So at Koru Kids, we do all those sort of software engineering practices that you, candidate, are probably familiar with. such as we like to pair program a lot. We like to make sure that everybody in the squad is bought into what the squad's working on. If there's a sort of weird process, or we seem to be doing something, you know, that because we're worried about something, or we start extending it, that's a bad thing, and we should have the courage to remove those things and go faster. We also need a technical infrastructure that supports experimentation. My dream is you write a piece of code, 20 minutes later, that thing's live and nothing's gone wrong. There's a great sort of industry phrase, which is don't commit production code on a Friday afternoon, which is something people do, say, because when you do that, there's no one there on the weekend to fix it, so you might ruin your weekend. But I think the opposite should be true. You should feel super comfortable deploying code at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, because we've got all the right systems in place to make sure that's reliable, and it's no biggie. So anyway, so that's the kind of culture we create. In order to do so, you need to hire people that can do as much as possible within the squad. You need to create an environment where they're trusted, and there's a great deal of autonomy. And also you need sort of the skills and infrastructure that actually makes that happen and makes it easy to do all those things. Does that answer your
Brilliant.
question? Yeah.
Yes, it does. Brilliantly. And it is worth saying that as the CTO, that's what you want to do. And as the CEO, I am 100% behind you in helping you do that. And this hire is hopefully going to be someone who will also be pushing that and, you know, establishing it, maintaining it, and we want someone who is fully on that train.
It's so important, and that's really why we're looking for someone who's had this experience, because that confidence you get from, you know, swapping out a database with another one and trying it out and then deciding no, that wasn't any good, or looking at new approaches, or just saying to the team, this will be fine, I've done it before, is necessary actually to help with that autonomy. Otherwise, you get a team that's maybe a bit worried about doing the wrong thing, and they go around searching for stakeholders. Please tell us what to do. We haven't got teams like that. We've got teams that are emerging from perhaps that sort of background. And a principal engineer would be such a great thing to have in the squad. Not least because we've got
No, I just think this is for the right person at the right moment in their career, who wants who wants this stuff and is motivated by the mission. This is like a dream job, I really think.
It is, and it's rare. It's a Goldilocks thing. Either it's too early on, and there's not enough sort of technical challenges to get the person interested, or it's a little bit further along, and there's too many people or too much too much management layers and things like that in the way. You don't get to chat with you, Rachel, or anyone else, which is what's able to happen straight away. So I think businesses that are this transformative moment where it's really interesting tech, you can make a massive difference, and we've got a tremendous amount of growth ahead of us, is a great time to join and have a lot of influence. And there's not how many companies are in that stage right now in London or in the world? Not that many.
All right, let's end it there. Thank you.
Well, my pleasure. Nice talking to you. Let's do another one tomorrow.